How you doing, guys? This is Al with Business Insights, and we're gonna talk about why a lot of businesses, probably most of them, fail within the first couple of years. Now, the main reason why business fail is the same as if you take a person who wants to become gold medalist in Olympic Games and let's say jogging. And first of all, you need a trainer or coach. The same thing in business. If you want to reach some success and reach some goals, you need to have a coach. Now, that person who trains on daily basis, probably 12 hours a day, is keep records of, for example, how long it took him to run, let's say 100 meters. And for example, let's say it's 12 seconds. And if he wants to beat a record, the same thing in business. If you want to break some records, if you want to reach some numbers, if you want to make it successful, you have to record the same thing. You have to record every phone call, how many phone calls you got in one day. It's the same thing that a person who trains for gold medalist does. He records his heartbeat, he records his how long took him 100 meters, 200 meters. He records same thing in swimming, they do the same thing. So how many phone calls you got a day, how many customers called you or walked into your store, or how many customers you reached a day. Now you have to record, very important, you have to keep track of daily records of your cash flow, like how much money came into the business, how much money was spent for business expenses, for all things that you basically all your records. Once you have some of your records, then you start improve them. Then you start, for example, if you run 100 meters for 12 seconds, then you want to run it for 11 seconds. You know how long it takes you. You know how much effort you need to put into. The same thing in business. You have 5 sales a day, you wanna make 7 sales a day. Let's say 10% improvements. You can put it daily, weekly, monthly, but you have to put some kind of goal on your improvement. Now, let's say you have 5 phone calls a day, 2 sales a day. Now you wanna get 8 phone calls a day and 3 sales a day. So you need to put an effort, see what it has to take to make to get 5 phone calls a day, which sources brings you more phone calls, invest maybe more money in advertisement, and work on the improvements daily. The same thing, you need to on the other hand, control your expenses and cut them, and try to cut your expenses like daily, weekly, monthly, and even yearly basis. For example, your rent costs you, let's say, 10% of your revenue. Let's say you got $100,000 and $10,000 you paid rent. So you think how, if it's possible, or maybe when you open another store, how you can bring rent to 9 or 8%. So if you open in another store, you know it's gonna bring you on average 100,000. You look for rent that is gonna cost 9 or 8,000 instead of 10, or you negotiate, or renegotiate your rent that you have already. Talk to your landlord, see what has to be done, but put some efforts. Even if you cannot bring down the expenses in your rent, it's always possible to bring down some other expenses. So just make a list, work on the rent, talk to your landlord, see if you can renegotiate the deal, if the lease is up, when you renew a lease, see all the options. Now, another thing, people that work for you. Always try to keep kind of also budget for your like salaries, for your pay stubs. Like let's say it costs you 10% of your revenue, the same. So try, always think, once you have these numbers, always think how you can bring them lower and lower, and this way you can cut your expenses. For example, maybe you don't need 10 people in your company. Maybe you can renegotiate with some of them to work part-time for you. So you come to them, maybe somebody's in the college, maybe somebody doesn't really have that much time, that you put him right now 6 days a week, more than 40 hours. Maybe you renegotiate with them, and they will be more happy. Or when you hire next person, look people for part-time, and then kind of work the way that you can always cut your expenses. Because if you don't do that, the thing is, it's never gonna be kind of let's say in business, it's always up and down, so it's never the same. So if you don't work on your improvements, if you don't work to cut your expenses, they're gonna go up. They're gonna go and kill the business. They're gonna go 11%, 12%, 15%, because if you're not gonna work on it, it's the same thing. If you don't work on your health, if you don't run every day and eat all healthy food, and don't go to gym, the same thing, your body will start losing the physical strength, and you're gonna feel less energetic. So the same thing will happen in business. It's gonna get weaker, and competitors will eat you one day or another. Eventually you're gonna be closed down if you're not gonna work on all these areas. And the same thing on improvements. Work on expenses, work on improvements. Daily, weekly, monthly, put goals even yearly. Now, improvements. How you can increase sales. 2%, 5%. Think how you can always, once you have that number, that you have 5 phone calls a day and 2 sales, figure out how you can get 8 phone calls a day. Maybe, as I said, put more, a little bit more toward the advertisement, or maybe change your advertisement sources that don't bring you many phone calls and cost you money. I mean, figure out, but you have to think about those improvements. It's a must. And there is make a list also on all your improvements, and list on all your expenses, and try to work on it on everyday basis. So sales, there is marketing, how you can bring marketing. If it's cost you, let's say, as we said, advertisement also like 10% of your business, how you can bring it to 9 or 8%. Try even 7 if it's gonna, maybe you can cut that marketing that doesn't bring you much business from, let's say, newspaper, and internet brings you more. Put more effort toward the internet, cut your newspaper, and figure out exactly. You need to know exact numbers. How many people bring you every ad, where they coming from. Keep track on everything, and this way you can work on these improvements. If you don't keep track, there is not going to be any improvements. Sooner or later, you go out of business. So very important. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.